We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. I am excited, as always, to be in this space to share, inspire, impact, and motivate others. The Bold Show, especially this month. This month is so special. May is the month of mental health awareness, and today's actually the second day. So tonight's show is an extension to remind you that you can overcome. It does not matter what you're going through. There is hope. And if you keep faith alive, and if you keep believing in yourself, this too shall pass. We are not exceptional from going through any challenges in life. But what decides if we rise? It's our mindset, how we internalize, how we process everything that we go through. And there is help. Don't sit around thinking that you should go through this alone. Reach out to a loved one, reach out to a professional. And tonight we're going to leave you with some information that you could always text or call to get the help that you deserve. We all get lonely. We all get sad, but it's a part of life. Lean into those feelings, but don't get stuck. So without further ado, tonight I am honored to be in this space with our guest. He's a young Black entrepreneur. He's the CEO of Credle Entertainment. He is also a musical artist. And he is going to share his why, how he arrived at this place. We all know that when we are confronted with darkness and we have those moments where we're at a crossroads and we're not sure where we're going to go, those are the moments, those moments of solitude, those moments when we have setbacks. Our setbacks are preparing us for our comeback. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome our guest tonight, Credle. I am so excited to be in conversation with this incredible human.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey. So I am really happy to have you in this space. And even more when I think about where we are today, where you're coming from, and just listening to your music and snooping around in your IG and getting a sense of who you are. It made me proud as a Black woman to be able to share energy, have dialogue with you. So why don't you tell the viewers who you are?
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, thinking of me, and it doesn't go unnoticed. I feel appreciated. Thank you.
You're most
uh,
welcome. Thank you
um,
for your energy.
yes. We gonna get into it. We're gonna have a great one.
Yes.
So me. Oh wow. Um, who is Cradle? Cradle is definitely speaking in third person, right? But Cradle is
It's
literally.
okay.
Listen, we both would stop. We got multiple personalities, so I could,
We'll get into that later
well,
too.
yeah, we'll get to that. But no, essentially, I feel, I'm someone who is not only inspirational, but definitely as well as open-minded, loving, caring, honest, um, someone that is just poetic, um, down to earth. That we be talking about signs, right? I'm a Capricorn, so so just someone, just a great spirited individual that just wants to see the world in a better place, and I just treat others how I want to be treated, and you know, yeah, I'm a great human being. Let's say that.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. So, Cradle, in snooping around, one of the stuff I discovered, which struck with me, you said that there's so much darkness in this world
Yeah,
and we need some more light. Talk to me
yeah.
about that light.
Ah, I feel like that light is within, not only myself, but I feel like in everyone, and you choose to either use it, or people might go the other route if influenced otherwise, or maybe not everyone has the same upbringing, as we all say. um it does really take a village to raise a child, and not everyone was fortunate in that. Fortunately, I was, and I was taught right from wrong, and I grew up in, um, the streets of Southside Jamaica, Queens, and I can see, what can happen when you don't have that village, or when you make that wrong turn, instead of that right turn, and where that can lead. So just being very observant, which I feel is one of my best traits. I feel like there's a reason why you got two eyes, two ears, and one mouth. So, and I just from experience, just seeing like, wow, like I don't want to go down that road. Like, oh, I saw how that went. And it's unfortunate. It can be sad when some people don't feel like they don't have a, um, didn't feel like they have a chance. But I just want to be that voice for that reason. For people to, um, bring more light to the world, as there's so much, gun violence, and
Huh?
the sex trafficking, and um it's a lot going on. You got so many, like, children being molested. It's a lot going on that's not really under the surface. Like, it's a lot of things that's in front of our faces that people are like looking blind to. And I feel like there's a lot of distractions um going on that causes us not to have talk on these topics. And I feel like people use music as an escape. And as that, and I definitely understand, because you don't want to be depressed 24/7. So sometimes you do want to have fun, you want to dance, but at the same time, we need to have conversations of what's going on, and how we could you know not only better the world, but our starting with our communities, at the end of the day. And for me, it starts within the music, and um, that's where I'm heading. Right now, I'm putting in the music, and seeing how I can spread light through that way, and how can I expand on it is what I am soul searching and asking God to help me with.
Powerful, powerful. You said something just now. It takes a village to raise kids. And even after the children are raised, it still take a village because we need that support. Even
Right.
when we become adults, we still need that support. And I think it's having the right people in your village, because you could have the wrong people that takes you down the wrong path. But also for anyone that's listening, you could always take wrong turns. It is okay. I am going to sound a little crazy saying that. It is okay to take wrong paths because that's how you're going to really find yourself. That's how you're going to sometimes stumble up on your truth and your purpose, right? Because if you don't have anything to compare, whether you're good or bad, whether you're weak or whether you're strong, then that becomes, you know, it sort of defeats the purpose if you ask me. And I'm always going to tell folks it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay
Right.
to mess up. But what's not okay, it's when you consistently repeat those behaviors that led you down the wrong path. As a Black man, and I'm just moved to be having this conversation right now. As a Black man, we're in Mental Health Awareness Month. I know for sure that our Black men, they don't get the love and the support that they really need because of how they were programmed to not feel, to not tap into those emotions, and to talk about that pain that they're feeling so that they could heal and they could move forward. As a Black man, how do you express yourself? Do you tap into that pain? And I know we're going to get into that because your music is very deep and
Yeah.
evocative.
A-
So,
Absolutely. Um, for me, I used to struggle with that a lot. You know, growing up, I had issues. I mean, even up until honestly throughout college, like I didn't really understand, or I didn't really pinpoint it until I started growing into romantic relationships and realizing my flaws and things that I thought I knew how to communicate on, but didn't. And um, and not only just romantic relationships, but relationships in general, where I learned I had a hard time um, explaining myself um, or expressing my feelings or really tapping into those feelings and having communication. And I used to be that type of person where I used to just bottle a lot of things on the inside. And to pinpoint to what you were saying earlier on, built not to fail. And after a while, you keep bottling those feelings, and eventually that bottle's gonna explode. And that's what was happening. And it took me in my early 20s to realize to whatever I'm feeling, whatever's on my mind, whatever's on my heart, just just say it. Let the person know um, how you're feeling, because it's not a great feeling when you explode, and um, it's just not a great feeling to keep those feelings inside at the end of the day. So for me, what helped with that um, was definitely music. It definitely started with poetry in high school, and then I just started to expand on it. And prior to that, I did let a lot of frustration out by playing sports. I was a real big hooper. I was ranked from the age of 11 all the way through college. So I like to say I was pretty good at what I do in that. And but in basketball, you can express yourself, but it's limited because it's not. I mean, not really talking about what you're going through. You're just taking your whatever you're going through, your frustration out on the court. You know. So for music, I got to finally, in poetry, I finally got to like write it out. And I really got to thank my English teacher in high school, where like every Friday she would just let us freestyle whatever we were going through. I remember my senior year, my first time like really expressing myself was um when my great grandmother passed away, and I got to like write that out and how I felt about that. And that kind of just started the everything for me as far as just laying it all out in the music. So um, yeah, music, that's my best way of expressing myself. You will not even know I'm going through a lot until you listen to certain songs. Like even my parents, they'd be like, "Oh, I didn't know he was going through that," or my friends or my siblings or whoever. Like I was like, that's just me. You'll learn a lot more about me sometimes, unless you're like really in my in my wolf pack, my close wolf pack. Um, my circle. Unless you're in that, you're not really gonna know.
wow.
Yeah.
Music. And it's so funny, like just sitting here listening to you, just like really talking about expressing yourself through poetry or through your music. And that's a form of narrative therapy, because when you actually write it out, it's like you're releasing. You need to let it
Mhm.
out. So for anyone that's gonna watch this later on, I am encouraging you, and you hear it from Cradle right here. He's a man that has been through this, right? Let it out. Find someone, a trusted individual, and talk it through. If you can't find that safe person, get a piece of pen and paper, or go on, while we're in technology, right? Write it on your phone. And when you're finished, you could discard it. If you write it on paper, you could rip it up and get rid of it. But don't sit around and think you have to struggle alone, because this is
Right.
when your thoughts, those negative thoughts, take control and lead you down a very, very dark path. So you got into music
Mhm.
because it was a form of healing for you, but you took it a
Yes.
step further, right? And we're going to get back to the music part, right? But this is the business aspect of it. So you created your own entertainment company. Talk to me about that.
Whew. It
Yeah, we're
definitely
going to
took
go
my
there.
my leap of faith.
Yes.
um, so quick story. So I graduated from college in 2017 with my business degree, and I pretty much just learned the general sense of business. So when I went to my college, when I went to that school, I did want to take more music business, like business pertaining to music, but they didn't offer that. Or if I did have the option to, but I would have to go to another school, and I didn't have no whip at the time, so I was like, you know what, forget it. So I pretty much learned the music business by just being outside, and experiencing, and going to these events, talking to people, shaking hands, and all of that. So one of the events I went to, which I ended up meeting my engineer slash producer slash fellow artist slash brother at one of these events, and it was an event with MTV, BT, Columbia Records, Vivo, um, just to name a few. And they played one of my, we had the option to play one of our records, and it was featuring, my sister, Moon Sky, and they really liked the record. So I'm thinking like, okay, it's something about to come from this. And I wasn't really well, tech savvy as far as on Instagram and everything. So I didn't really have a crazy following, because my the people that follow me and support me are used to me playing basketball. I'm only 1 year removed from school, so me taking this leap of faith of music was pretty much brand new to everyone. I mean, not to me, but I let the world know that I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. So I didn't have like that fan base yet, and nothing really came from it. That's when I learned that you really know how solidified your relationships are when you follow up. It's just everything's all good in your face. But once I started emailing and following up with people, hitting them in the DMs and Instagram, and I realized like, oh, that was just for
Talk.
show. Like that was just because I was there in front of your face. Then people are following me and stuff. It was weird. So um, after that, it was very upsetting at the time. But then it was just like, you know what? I'm not the type of person to sit and mope. So I was like, you know what? If I'm not gonna get signed or whatever, I'm gonna just create my own situation. So if you're not gonna sign me, I'm gonna sign myself. So I created Cradle Entertainment, signed Cradle. I was the first artist underneath my label, and um, yeah, that's exactly how it started, and I just started to just really really dig into the business side, because I knew the general side of business, but I really needed to know the music side. So by the grace of God, I've just been outside, and like you said, making mistakes, and learning from them. And now 9 years in,
Wow.
6 years since college, and I'm not saying I know everything. I'm still learning, but I know a lot. So just the continuing to grow. But I'm Credit Entertainment. That's my family name. And you know, to me, it's that's why I say it's also my legacy name. It's also my brand, and what's better than starting something within your family. So that's what that came about.
Awesome. Congratulations. And I'm happy that you took that leap of faith, right? Oftentimes, like I tell people, if you're going to sit around and wait for the perfect moment when you have the money, when you have the ideal support, when you have the Instagram followers, now
Right.
there's never going to be a perfect time.
Mhm.
Time is of the essence. We get up and we take time. I think it's one of the most important commodity that anyone could ever have. I could come to you and I could say, hey, Cradle, could you give me $50? You could give me that $50, but if I really wanted you to go and say, let's go feed the homeless, and I come and you turn me down, that would probably hurt me even more because I'm asking for your time. So I value when you give me your time as opposed to give me currency. So
Mhm.
kudos to you. Um, Question. So, have you signed anyone else to your record entertainment label as yet? And what's that like? What are your plans around that?
Yeah. So right now I'm one of three artists. We have my sister Moon Sky,
Okay.
where we just I don't want to get out of the way. We can get into that later. But we
Okay.
we just had we've been more of a duo as of late, and we've been rocking shows together, and just that brother sister duo, that people been waiting for. So I'm very excited about that and doing more of that this year. And then we just signed another artist. I was like, I mean, both these artists are my sister's inspirational R&B, soul, pop, gospel artist, and then a rapper we just signed. I consider him an inspirational artist as well. Um, Christian, there's Christian hip hop, um, rap. He's one of the best lyricists I know to date, and his name is John Priesthood, and we just signed him this year. So we just dropped his album a month ago called The Book of Priests. So he's definitely doing this thing as well, and we all rocked out at the legendary venue SOBs. I know you want to get into that later,
That's okay.
but but it was amazing to see all three of us continue to grow, and we're all just really just getting started because we all been on our own personal journeys that led us here, and the saying at our label is Cradle Entertainment, where lone wolves find their home, and we all had our personal journeys that God brought us through, that life brought us through, and now we are all connected, and we're figuring out everything all together.
Hmm. Chords that cannot be broken, right?
Yes,
Awesome. I
yes.
absolutely
Oh,
love it.
what was the last thing I was gonna add? Because the crazy part before Cradle Entertainment, I was gonna name it Cradle Records, but then
Oh,
we decided on, my sister was like, "Nah, entertainment is better because we do more than music." So not only do we do music, but we also dive into TV and film, also sports, so everything entertainment wise. Because I also coach um, and train basketball players as well. So yeah, everything. That's why I said, what, it's entertainment. That's
one
what it
big
is.
umbrella. So we could just
Exactly.
branch off wherever we want. Your sister's a smart woman.
Yes. Yes, she is.
Yeah. Awesome. So, talk to me about the creative process. Let's get into you, the musical artist. Like, let's get into that. Let's dive. What does your creative process look like?
Whew. It's funny because I can create in so many different ways. Early on in my career, I didn't have no producer, so I was just online searching up beats, YouTube and stuff, like YouTube type beats of my favorite artists. I used to do a lot of Kid Cudi type beats, Kanye West type beats, or this person type beats, Drake type beats, and just doing anything to showcase my skills, and my talent. And fortunately, I got to a point where now I have multiple producers um, that I work with, multiple engineers, musicians, and things of that sort. Um, so how I used to create is like, I would hear a beat, and if I feel a spark, I can just write to it, and I may make a couple adjustments as far as like on the bridges and stuff like that. But the best collaboration I've done so far, which also kind of stems from Wolfpack as well, is just building from scratch. Like I love building from scratch and just having melodies in my head and um, just having these melodies in my head, and my I have so many voice memos in my iPhone. I probably got thousands by now,
Don't lose
and
your
I
iPhone.
just I know, right? I got to start on my iCloud drive, so even if I change phones, it's still there. But I would go to my one of my producers, my main producer, Jay Carnell, um, which is on the Resistance, which is the music production company that we're partnered with. Um, it's like our companies are like brothers, pretty much. We work hand in hand on a lot of things, from live music to studio work as well. So anytime y'all see me with a band or live instrumentation on the music, my mixing, my mastering, my recording, like everything is pretty much done with them when it comes to that. And oof, set myself on a spiral. so, so many things going on. But no, we would go to I would go to the studio. We used to, because now we're based in, well, the studio is based in New Jersey now, but before he moved, we were in Queens in Springfield Gardens, and he was 5 minutes from me, so I would drive there, or when I wasn't driving, just take the bus there, and I'll play everything on my phone, and he would just build around it, and I would tell him what instruments I'm looking for, what type of mood I'm looking for, give him like a sample, like a reference track type of thing that I'm looking for, and he'll take my idea and just run with it and just make it even better than what I could imagine, and I would just fill in everything. But for me, the hook is definitely first. Like once I have the hook, everything else is easy. Because to me, I mean, it's called a hook for a reason. Like hello, like whoop pat, whoop pat, whoop pat, whoop pat. Like it's so catchy, people love it. And then honestly, um, a tip that I give to songwriters or other artists is that once the hook is completed, I feel like that's the honestly once the beat and the hook to me are like the two, probably like the hardest parts. But my producers are so dope, and then my executive producer mine is crazy. So I help them with the instrumentation of what I want anyway. So it's so seasoned that the beat part is not even hard. The hook part, once that's figured out, all I'm doing in my verses is just expanding on what I already did in the hook.
Got
So so I just have so much fun doing it, and I got producers that do drill, pop, inspirational, house, alternative rock, like country, like it don't matter. We fuse everything together. Like none of my songs is like a one bass track. Like it's always fused with something. It's always drawing different genres together because that's just how I was brought up, and that's just how uh, I was raised as far as all the music I um, just and took and just embraced. So, whew, I know that was a long answer, but yeah.
No, 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 it's not. It's perfectly fine. So it sounds like you have an infusion of music, which is awesome.
Yeah,
So, how would you say your musical career has evolved since you started 6 years ago?
it's crazy because I know I definitely evolved songwriting wise for sure. My songwriting got a lot stronger. The production, I mean, my production team a lot stronger because we're pretty much growing together. Because we started working together in 2017. So not only the quality of the music gotten better, but like the mixing, the mastering, the beat itself, um, my not only my songwriting but vocally. I've gotten better by taking vocal lessons as well. My conviction got a lot better. My confidence, my believability, um, just man, it's just crazy because there's just some things you can't teach. When it comes to music, and just that A factor just like really kicked in, and just really that groove. Like it's just like I got this. Like this is like nothing can stop me but me. Type of attitude when I'm recording. My vulnerability a
Mm,
lot deeper over the years, and letting people really in on what's going on and what I've been through and how I feel about certain situations. Um, it's funny because there's some things I'll say in my music that I wouldn't even say out loud, which is weird. So, it's just some things you won't find out until you just hear the music and like, wow, you really went through that or that happened? Like, yeah, so um, I just learned the more vulnerable, the more deep I've gotten in my music, the more my fan base grew, the better the record's been, and people can feel it through the song. Like they can feel when it's real and when it's genuine,
yeah.
and that's all I've been. It's just spending my life and my experiences of what I've seen and what I've gone through, what I might have seen someone else going through. So I can come. Some I got so great at um, saying something without saying it. Like, and I know you know what I mean.
Yeah, I
It's
do.
like, um, like there's just so many ways you can go into it, like saying like, oh, like it's hot outside, like it's just like metaphors or just ways of expressing that without saying the exact thing. So just getting better at, just piecing stories together and just painting a better picture of people's
Got it.
heads.
And your vulnerability is your strength. Oftentimes, we shy
Mm,
away from our vulnerability because of that fear of being judged, of being looked at as being different, being ridiculed, and that fear of not being accepted. So we hurt and we decide not to share. But like I tell people, get it off your chest. You really don't care what
mm,
happens after because it's better to let it out than to hold it in. And I think this is a perfect segue. So you recently headlined SOB. I can't wait to get into that. Let's talk about that. I think we should probably show people what we're talking about and why this is so exciting. And then I'll allow you to tell people from your perspective what that felt like.
yeah, I'm ready. Right. That
Okay.
was yeah,
The
that was
energy, the energy. So I don't even know where I should start, if I should have you like really break down. No, let's go get into SOB. What was that experience like and how did you get there? And then I'll dive into the music itself.
so SOBs, woo, wow. An amazing, amazing legendary venue for those who do not know. Artists such as Kanye, Rihanna, Drake, Big Sean, Mark Anthony, Remy Ma, like all those Jada Kiss, like all those major talented artists have performed there. And man, just to be on that stage headlining, like it's a blessing. And the crazy part is like when I got booked for it, like it didn't hit at first. It didn't really hit until people was like, it's like more people was excited for me than I was at some point. It was like, yo, SOBs, man, yo, headline, that's crazy. And but it wasn't because I wasn't, I want people to think like, oh, he wasn't grateful. Or like, no, it was a point of showing up and giving people the best show that I possibly can, and showing the world that I was, deserving of being in that position. So it was like pressure, but we welcome that on this side. So we welcome all the pressure, we welcome all of that energy. So it was just more so proving a point at first, but getting into how it happened is what I would explain to artists of how important relationship building is. The coordinator of that show, of the festival, actually, Day Summer Festival, is actually someone I've known for almost a decade now, including my sister. And it wasn't a situation like, oh, just because we knew them, like we got the slot, but no, it's because it was a combination of things, combination of hard work and showing and proving. I My debut performance at SOBs was back in 2020, and that's when I got my first opportunity. And I'll tell artists that's when the business side, when it's bigger than the music. Like, yes, you can be as talented as you want. That's, to me, only 10% of it. The 90% is the business of and building that leverage. Can you bring people out? Can you bring? And it's tough. Can you bring people out on a Monday? Can you bring people out on a Tuesday? And that really shows, um, what you're really about. And how much support you really have, and how much your music is really influencing, the others. So I remember the first time I got booked for SOBs, I was fortunate enough to do that. I remember it was on a Monday, and I brought people out. It was a great turnout, and then people remember that. So then, obviously, the pandemic and all that stuff. So then I got booked again, and well, last summer June, yeah, last summer June, 2022. Opened up for K Goddess, and Capella Gray, um, and that was a major situation. I performed so well. Some people, really uh, enjoyed me as much as the headliner. Some people like enjoyed my performance the most, just being honest. And that definitely carried weight. And I also brought a lot of people to that show. you know, and then that's what fortunately got me this opportunity to actually headline myself. At SOBs, and we took it up a notch. Adding the whole band with it as well. By this time, Wolfpack is out. That single is going crazy right now, over 412,000 streams. So people really came out and wanted to hear that record also. That's another thing for artists. Like, you gotta have that. You gotta have that single that's gonna bring people out. Or those singles. Um, and it was wow. It was just amazing, and brought people out again. So those on three separate occasions did SOBs. And to pinpoint back to your earlier question, like, I got to see the growth because I got video of all three performances or BTS. You're the first to know, Soul City, that yes, we're working on a documentary right now, so that should be coming soon. And that's gonna be part of the documentary of, like, I can literally see my growth on the footage of my performance, and stage presence, confidence, swag, believability, and just how seasoned I am compared to where I came from, and how long uh, I've come. So it was just a blessing. Um, but yeah, definitely relationship building is important, and that's definitely how I got on SOB stages. But not only being talented, but having a business mind as well.
And putting in the work, right? Let's not forget
Yeah,
making that sacrifice. Like, I want folks to understand, it's so easy for individuals to see the glow up, to see, okay, fine, you're headlining SOBs and not really understanding where you're coming from to where you are today. Like, it took a lot of sleepless nights and the stress and trying to figure it out, and the solitude and working by yourself. And you talked about that rejection earlier. Like, I think most artists can relate to that, and new upcoming artists, they can all relate to feeling as if, like, you know what, this person is going to sign me, or this person is going to reach out to me, and this person is going to support me. You have to believe in yourself. And if your why is strong enough, you will be perfectly okay. So I want us to unpack that single, Wolfpack. Let's unpack it. Let's dive in because it is so deep. Like I listened to that song over and over and over, but it's the hook. Do you hear me now? Do you hear me now? Do you hear my how? Right? I don't want to mess up your song, but it's
Nah,
like
you ain't. You're not. You're
it's
doing good.
it's really, 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 really deep. And when you talk about ain't no losing now, do you hear my how? So much darkness in the world. We want light. This is my calling. This is my destiny. Come on, let's talk here.
I appreciate you doing. Listen, for anybody who want to do that's doing interviews, y'all make sure y'all doing your homework like Marie is doing. Shout out to you. Really tapped in.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. The crazy part with this record is a lot of these feelings were that I didn't even know, subconsciously that it was so suppressed. Like everything was just so suppressed, and I didn't even realize. And that's just part of my the songwriting, aspect and ability where I was just saying, I know, we had our conversation prior to, us starting the interview, but we were saying earlier that um, if it doesn't hit my soul, I can't write to it. Like it doesn't matter how amazing the beat is, if I can't relate to it, if I can't, if it doesn't hit me, I just can't. Like I know people can relate. You've seen attractive people before, beautiful people, but are you attracted to them? Like you say, oh, she's beautiful, but I'm okay. Like I don't want to take her on a date. Like that's how I view it. Like there's some beats that's fire, but it just like don't hit me. But this um instrumentation in particular, when I heard the beat of Wolfpack, shout out to my producer in the UK, produced by producer Samples, and I met him. When he was like 15. He was like 15 years old, and we've been working the last 3 years since the pandemic. He hit me up on Instagram, wanting to work, and he sent me some beat packages, and we got to work since then. Um, and once I heard Wolfpack, like pretty much the only thing that was done was that he already had done was the way that the hook is structured. But when it got to like as far as like the real intimate parts, such as like the verses, the bridge with the choir, like that was all my influences as far as my gospel and church background combining with his UK background, his culture as far as like how drill is obviously heavy in London in the UK. So combining those two influences and those two cultures together, and that's exactly what Wolfpack is. It's really a combination of both, like beautifully made to perfection. And oh man, like writing those lyrics, like even in the bars when I say, my man's just died, but can't let it get to me. He was a teammate, more like family. He was the bro that should be hurting me. That's what the devil or is the enemy. And that was a situation where my teammate passed during the pandemic in a car accident um, in 2020, and it definitely devastated me because when I when I played college basketball and when I went to Becker College my freshman year, I transferred in midway, and but he transferred in from another school as well, so we was rooming together, and it was my first time in Massachusetts. He grew up in Cape Cod. Um, the school is in Worcester, so like he's used to being in Massachusetts. I really wasn't. And I was 4 hours away from family, so I was if I wasn't with um my team, I was with our whole team. I was with him and with his family. So my whole freshman year, it was like this family like just took me in, type of thing. Um, so he really meant a lot to me because we was always together. If so it definitely hit hard because I was always in the car with him. So um when that took place, I didn't really know. I didn't have no closure because during that time, there was no funerals. People
Mm.
were dying in the hospitals and wasn't seeing their loved ones. You know, um, it was really sad because just like I feel like this is the closest I've gotten to it, but I feel like um I still have to have some things take place, some personal things take place where I still talk to his parents and things, um, and everything, but I still don't have that 100% closure. I'm not gonna lie to you. Wolfpack helped a lot with it, speaking on it, um, but like that was part of the pain that I didn't even know that was still there subconsciously that came out on its own when I was just writing. Because I'm just writing, I'm just thinking things that just popping up in my head, and then I just got moved in such a way, um, that I just started speaking on that, and I had to pause for a second. I'm not gonna lie, I had to stop writing for a second and be like, "Damn, like I'm still not over." Like, I mean, you don't get over that, right? But I still didn't process it, and writing the Wolfpack definitely helped a lot with it, and I feel the spirit every time I perform it. You know, when I feel fatigued or like, ah, I'm not, because there's some I perform so much. It's like there's some days it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. There's some days it's hard to perform it, but when especially when it's expected, everyone loves the record. But I think of him and I immediately snap out of it, and I'm just like, nah, this is for my bro Blade. So um, that definitely went heavy into that verse, and it's just the combination of um, which already happened in this country, just the ongoing mass shootings. Like I know we're in May now, but it's already over 176 mass shootings. It's not even 176 days into the year, so it's just mind-boggling,
Yeah.
what's taking place. So for me, I know where drum music stems from, especially Chicago, and um, it's very violent music. Um, and I don't want to sit here and bash no one either. Like people are speaking on their experiences, but at the same time, I do want to open up people's minds and be like, you don't have to go down that route. This is what they want you to do that. They want to lock you up. They want you dead. They want you in jail. Let's not feed into the system and you know, um, the traps that people fall into. So I'm just here to, um, I'm just feel like God is moving me to let people know that there's another um, way, that there's other things we can speak on. Like you can speak on your pain, but I'm not going to talk about killing my brother. Like I'm just not. You know, um, that's just how I feel on it, and I just want to show people that drill music is more than that, and it can be more than that. And I'm not coming off judgmental. I'm not coming off arrogant. I'm not coming off um, like I'm better than anyone. I just want to show the youth, show everyone who's doing that type of music that you can expand. Like you can do so much more, bro. You can do like we're so talented. You know, like black we created all the music under the sun. It's us. So I just want to reach out to that young person, or whoever that person who might be older than me, whoever, that we are capable of so much more and more positivity, because that's what's needed right now. And I feel like that I can sense it, and that's why this song is really taking off, because people are tired. People are tired of mass shootings, and they want to blame it on hip hop. I'll get into that, another day. But um, Eric, ignorant people, and I just want to show people that, you know what, this is what's sitting on my mind. This is what's sitting with me. This is what I feel like needs to be done, and this is how I can contribute to putting more light out there and hopefully changing that one person's mind. So, but yeah, it can be a start of a whole new movement.
So they have this platitude, hurt people. And that's what we're seeing today. There's so much suppressed pain, frustration, um, feelings of abandonment, feelings of rejection. And it's just manifesting itself in this way, which is like really, really sad. But time is crawling up on us. We've been having this like really chill conversation, and I absolutely love it. Um, but I also like your music. It's evocative, it's provocative, it's intense. It's so much emotions with your work that you do, and you already know because you're such a believer in the work that you're doing. And this is where your confidence comes in. So I absolutely love it. But I was also listening to your album, Tales of Sad and Lonely, and just thinking about and hearing your music and the range of topics that you have: storm, sad, she bad, toxic.
Hmm.
It's so much best sex ever.
Well,
Let's land on that. Best sex ever. And I also watched the YouTube video. Tell me what was going on. And I have a really good question to ask you after this, because I'm always curious. Like, when men hear, when a woman calls a man and said, I want to talk, how do men translate that? Before you get into the video, help me understand. Shed some
when
light.
we when we hear I want to talk, it can mean so many things. Like we just be like, okay, wait. You be backtracking like, alright, did I do something wrong? You just kind of already kind of think something negative, and that just can be from experience, traumas, traumas that men been through. Usually, what that means, because for some men, they might not assume that because they haven't been in that situation. I know for me, when we need to talk, I'll be like, okay, she really wants to, you know. It depends on the extent of the relationship. But no, for me, it's just like, ah, shit, this can go either way. It's just my thing is the worst thing you want to do is is let a mind wander.
Mm.
When a mind is wandering, you just like, whoa, what? You just like everywhere. You just like, wait, what? That's when you thinking of the craziest things. Like, so that yeah, when I think that's just because the mind is wandering and we have no idea. Because people can wake up feeling different every day. Things can be going great in your head, and then she can be like, "Oh, I want to talk," or "We need to talk," and it's just like you like, okay, I think everything's going great. Like it makes you, it just leaves interpretation. So, um, yeah, so
Okay,
yeah,
I'll
because
take
people
that.
wake
I'll
up,
take
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But where were you when you wrote that song, Best Sex Ever?
I
On your
was in a position where, so it was about my last relationship, my ex, and we weren't currently together. Um, we weren't together at the time, but at the same time, it's hard because it was at school, so I'm still seeing her, we're still seeing each other every day. I played basketball, she played basketball, so it's either I'm coming in into the gym while they're practicing, or vice versa. Lunch, dinner. Like I'm seeing her, so it's like you can't really get closure or get over someone when you continuously seeing them. So at least for me. So um, and she was the hmm, to this day I would say probably the closest one of the closest people that got into me. Or I could say that like we still got love for each other. I'm not gonna lie. And we were just at a point where we knew each other best than any we knew each other more than anyone else did. So at the end of the day, we still, I mean, we're still young now, but we was like really, really young, and still got needs, and when that person, she like what she like when I do that thing or two, and I like when she do that thing or two, and it was like that chemistry never died, like that sexual chemistry never died, so that's what dragged on that situation more. But we knew in the grand scheme of things, like bigger picture, like that it wasn't the right time for us to be together. Um, so that was just expanding or extending rather they're inevitable. So yeah. So it's like, damn, I know this is so wrong when it feels right. One of those situations. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. We've all been there, right? We could attest
Yeah.
to that. But in watching that video, and just listening to the lyrics, I think for me, it's that honesty, because that's what I realized. Like, you were so honest. You weren't leading her on. You told her exactly, like, listen, can't have a relationship. It's not going to happen. And I think that is so necessary, in any relationship that you have, being transparent. Because again, but then I think it goes back to you being able to check in with your highest self. So you are at that point, you're not only thinking about yourself, but you're also thinking about the next person, but most importantly, setting boundaries for yourself.
Hmm.
So um, you're not going to leave without leaving some words of encouragement. So, what are some words of encouragement that you would like to leave for our viewers that's going to watch this again?
My words of encouragement is stay true to you, stay true to yourself. Do what you feel is right in your heart. Usually go with your intuitions. Um, because people ask me, how are you, successful as far as like your music and everything, how you come up with the stuff that you come up with, and it's because I'm staying true to me. I'm not doing what everyone else is doing. I'm standing out because I'm using the time that I was given, and I am secure in my talent, and I'm secured in what um, the skills I've been given. So that'll be one of the words of encouragement. Also, artists realize that you're a walking brand. All creatives out there, even outside of music, you're walking brands. Anytime you go to an event, anywhere you go, make sure um, that you are represented, you well represent yourself. At the end of the day, that's very important. Um, and lastly, spread love, positivity, and don't take no days for granted. Treat every day like it's a game seven. Let's get it.
Love it.
Every
Love
day is game seven. Let's get it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to add to that, just remember, life is not guaranteed, and it's not a requirement. It's a gift,
Hmm.
and we should value that gift. Finish this statement. Cradle is.
Inspirational.
Ugh, love it, love it, love it. Tell us where we could find you.
You can follow me on all social medias, but Instagram at I am period Cradle, TikTok I am Cradle, Twitter I am Cradle. My website Cradle Entertainment, where you can get your merch, your hoodies. We got all different flavors. Um, and stream Wolfpack, stream the album Tales of the Sad and Lonely, stream everything we have.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your energy, for sharing your truth, and just being in this space. I truly appreciate you. Soul City truly appreciate you. And my wish is that you'll continue to spread your light and shine this light in a world that is so dark. But before I leave, I promised I would leave a number for folks to reach out to. If you're struggling with your emotions, you can text or call 988, or there is the crisis text line. Text hello to 741-741. Again, text hello to 741-741. And just remember, you are never alone. You may feel alone, but reach out for help because help is there. Have an amazing rest of the night and an incredible week on purpose. And I'll see you all next week, same time. Thank you, Cradle. It was a pleasure.
Likewise. Ow. Wolf pat, wolf pat, wolf pat, wolf pat.
Thank you.